you know, as I look back on my career, sometimes I have rose-colored glasses because it seems to me I was happy the whole time, even when I was just doing commercials and doing sketch comedy and for fun and for free. But then I'll remember that you know, someone will remind me they met me at the top of Fryman Canyon and I was distraught, like I'm leaving town, I can't do this anymore. And by the time I got down to the end of the hill, because I remember this, I was back in the game. So there was really no choice for me. I have to do this. This is what I love, and you know, when all of this kind of hype starts to fade, and it will, I will continue. I'm a character actress, and what I do kind of caught up with my age, and my face kind of caught up with what I do, and so the last 10 years have been probably my most fruitful in terms of getting work that pays me, and playing roles that suit me. I used to think that when I would go to an audition, it was like, how can I fit into this role? And now I think about, you know, does this fit for me? And that's a whole different way of looking at stuff. Yeah, and that's been just the most wonderful part of it, is that if I get asked to do something, it's because they kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do with it. I don't have to fit my round self into a square, my round peg into a square hole. And that's dirty. That sounds dirty. And that's really nice. I always say, when I'm working and you hear the director say cut, and he starts to walk toward me, kind of like he or she wants to tell me something, I always go, oh, God. You know, just kind of let me do what I do. I don't do well when people tell me what to do, and that's why I'm not the greatest dancer in the world. With my wife back there, watching myself do some of those dances, going, I just do not dance well. And the fact that they are allowing me, you know, I've done 2 dance numbers, I believe, which just kills me, and because they have to tell me what to do, so I'm doing things they're telling me to do. I don't know, training. But after Cornell, I went back to Chicago, where I'm from, and there's a great thriving theater scene in Chicago, and I was doing plays for free. I was in a Shakespeare company. You know, I had classical training, so I fancied myself a classical actress. And you know, you're always sending out resumes to like Goodman and I can't even think of the names of some of the the Apollo, the Victory Gardens, all these professional theaters. You're hoping to get just a general audition with them, and one resume I sent out one week was to Second City, which I really had no aspirations to be a Second City person, and I got called in to audition for the touring company, and out of like, you know, 150 women, they only chose 2, and I was one of them, and I was blown away, and I was like, wow. And I didn't feel particularly good about that audition, but I think it was one of those things where, you know, destiny slaps you in the face and says, look this way, look this way. I had been doing like this Shakespeare company, and then the Second City thing came along, and it was like handed to me, you know, and I was pulling my hair out at the Shakespeare company thing. You know, they weren't doing it my way, and I didn't want to do it their way, and so I left, and I, you know, started getting paid, to answer your question in a long-winded answer. So we got, you know, it was a lot of money as far as I was concerned. I was able to quit my day job and just tour around the country with Second City people, and I started to love sketch, because we did a set sketch show, the best of Second City, and so we went to St. Louis like 100 times that year, and you know, all over the country, but for some reason St. Louis we went to a lot. And it was fun. We get to do little songs, and you know, I'm not a great singer, but I love to sing, and you don't have to be a great singer to sell these songs, and so it turned out to be just perfect for my talent. You know, I didn't have to be fabulous in certain areas, but you did have to be fabulous in other areas, and it kind of matched up with what my skill set was at that point. And I started doing the sketch comedy shows at the Tamarind Theater, which is now Upright Citizens Brigade, and over at the Coast Theater we did some stuff. When we started doing that, I was doing commercials and an occasional guest star on a sitcom, and for about 3 or 4 years there I did pretty well as a voiceover person. That was a great gig. You made a lot of money. It was a very little amount of work, and then the strike of 2000 happened, and it changed the entire business, because now they know non-union people can do it, maybe not as well, but for cheaper, and so that was a change. But there was a golden era there where voiceover was just this wonderful thing that a lot of people could share and the
But that was what, animation? Because you still
No, I do animation now, but that was the stuff you hear on radio and television, announcer stuff, what they call partner copy, and it's a lot of fun, and it's peopled by really fun people. It was a great gig. It was we all kind of knew it was this, we were breathing rarefied air at that time.
And I gather it was The Fugitive that sort of convinced you could sort of move to LA?
I thought I could go to Hollywood. I did the out of nowhere. I was doing voiceovers and doing a play at Steppenwolf, and I had moved back to Chicago after the Brady Bunch, and I got a phone call from my agent. I knew The Fugitive was coming into town, and they said, they've cast you in a role. I was like, really? And it turns out this woman is Andy Davis's assistant, and she said, again, instead of this doctor being a man, I know a woman who can play this. It would be very good. And so, sight unseen, he cast me. And I remember they paid me $8,000. And I was over the moon. You ask me questions where it sounds like I brag if I give the answer, but yes. We must have Jane Lynch. Set me up for a big blowhard brag fest.
You would not be lead without Jane.
Well, what I read, and this just might be Ryan being very generous, but he said that Kevin Riley said, we need a nemesis, and Ryan said immediately, well, her name will be Sue Sylvester, and she will be played by Jane Lynch. And that is a role that I don't improvise. Well, every once in a while I'll do something. Every once in a great while I'll come up with something. But it's Ian Brennan just writing down the words and me struggling all week to memorize them. And that's how that character works. He's the evil genius behind Sue Sylvester. We have like 14 now regular cast members on that show. So everyone needs to get their storyline. And then we have about 5 or 6 peripheral characters that are wonderful who come in and out. So we have so many storylines. So there's going to be episodes where there's episodes where James, who plays Emma, isn't in it at all, and there's episodes where I'm not in it. And so that happens.
Which of your characters is it that you feel like they're responding to?
Now it's Sue Sylvester. Absolutely. Yeah. It was a kind of a mix before, but it's definitely Sue Sylvester, and it's 14, 15-year-old kids, and and the thing that's hard about that is that you can't say, "Buzz off! I'm trying to have dinner here. You gotta be nice." And it's really rewarding and satisfying, and I found a way to do it where I don't have to sit and have a conversation with each of them. I've kind of been able to reflect that, because that I would not have a life, because this show has impacted kids, as I know you all know, like you wouldn't believe. And some kids, it's like they've been given a reason to live. Really, yeah.
With the young cast you've been working with too, I mean, on Glee, obviously. I mean, are there? What is that like to be sort of, the more experienced one? Do they look up to you? Do they take notes?
Well, if they do, it's lovely if they do. But I don't see them very much. I work with Matt Morrison for the most part. I see these kids like at events for the most part, and they're just awesome. They can't be pains in the asses and do what they do. They get up in the morning and they have to sing and dance, and they don't go home until it's late at night. So there has to be a focus there and a discipline that just can't be accompanied by being a pain in the ass. So they're really good people. They're really show people. They're really can-do people.